Welcome to our handwriting presentation for parents. So, our presentation takes you right through from beginning with very simple movements all the way through to our new handwriting scheme and should give you a flavour of how we teach and develop handwriting at Penns Meadows School. As children and young people develop their handwriting skills right from the very beginning, they move from being able to grasp and release an object and then holding it to beginning to have some kind of control over manipulating cause and effect toys. This will then move into passing and crossing the middle of their body, their midline, to grasp objects. So, for example, taking it from over here to over here, passing it from one hand to the other. They then need to be able to form the ability to isolate their index finger. This is their pointing finger and can be done through lots of different pointing games and exercises, but is really important for when it moves into pencil control. So we're moving from grasping to twisting and pushing to being able to point. Once the child or young person has mastered those skills, then they will move on to being able to make marks in sensory media or materials, looking at different marks they've made, scribbling, then connecting blocks, pushing and pulling toys in media, then making random marks with different media, for example pens or chalk or paintbrushes or felt tips or pencils, and then they move into making vertical and circular marks. At this point, it's really handy if they're also developing their ability to be able to post objects into small containers and bottles and using pegs and tweezers to pick up different objects, big, going down to small ones, and being able to start colouring and trying to get it more into the lines. These are the pre-writing skills that we will work on in school through lots of different sensory experiences, through lots of opportunities both inside and outside, lying on the tummy, standing up, sitting down, and these are lots of things that you can help your child by providing them with these opportunities at home too. Children within that need to practice these marks, and this is the order they'll do it. They can start off doing it in the air and actually using their hand to move down before moving on to doing it quite big on the floor or on a whiteboard, and eventually being able to do it on a piece of paper, smaller and with more control. So we start off with horizontal and vertical lines, and when they can do that with lots of control on a piece of paper, we then move on again to starting with the air, then moving into doing it large, and then going small with making circles, and they can be made in either direction. We then move on to the push-pull. So to push, we need to push away from ourselves, and to pull, we need to move back. And they're really important when we form our letters because they're very important for forming an R or a H or an N or an M, all the letters that have a curve at the top. So they're really important shapes that we need to master. Once we've managed to developmentally do those in the air and then do them at large scale and then small, we can move on to our slide and our flick. And our slide is slightly longer than our flick, but they are our diagonal marks at the bottom of the page. Again, we do those through the air, then large and then small. And then we move on to being able to do a square and a cross, which is like an addition sign cross, before finally moving on to a multiplication cross and a triangle. And these are all the shapes that are really, really important so that your child can then move on to being able to form letters correctly. So they're all the skills that we will be working on them learning in order to support their handwriting. At the same time, we'll be working on developing your child's pencil hold or pencil grip. You see that at the top we have a fisted grip. This is the grip that's most commonly used by younger children, where they grip around the pen and use it with their full fist. Developmentally, most children then will move on to a digital pronate grip, which are the other two at the top of the page. They then move into a 4-finger grip and then a static tripod grip before moving into the dynamic tripod grip, which is the grip that will help you to be able to form those letters and write without getting any cramp or any pain in your hand. There are 2 developmental ways of doing this last grip, and we will be teaching the children appropriately. And if your child is not using this one, we will let you know. There is another one that is particularly useful for children who have difficulties with the muscles in their hands and therefore need a more stabilising grip to be able to support that pencil properly. Our chosen handwriting scheme at Pensmeadow is Kinetic Letters. And we've chosen this because it has lots of different experiences within it, sensory experiences, stories, and it really focuses on being able to use your body in a strong way to be able to help you to do that handwriting beyond just holding the pencil. And we felt this was very important for our children at Pensmeadow. So Kinetic Letters is a handwriting programme that was founded by Margaret Williamson, and she formed this in collaboration with a paediatrician and with an occupational therapist, and that's what gives it that extra layer which is really important to the children at Pensmeadow. So Kinetic Letters aims to support students to correctly form their letters so their handwriting is legible, and consideration has been made for children with a range of special educational needs to support their learning with appropriate next steps and strategies. So there are 4 strands to Kinetic Letters that the young people will progress through. So we have a red one, which is about making our body stronger. So that's about our whole core muscles, being able to strengthen our shoulders, being able to strengthen across our chest so we can sit up straight to be able to do that and hold that position. And there are lots of different exercises and different ways that we can practice doing that. And that is ongoing throughout the phonics scheme. So that will be ongoing right from when children start at Pensmeadow all the way through to when they leave us as young people, to be able to support that ongoing core strength. We have the green strand, which is supporting them to hold their pencil correctly, the yellow for letter formation, and then the blue for giving it that flow at the end when you've got letters and you're trying to write words. We won't be moving into joined up writing. Our aim is to make sure that the writing that our young people are being able to form is legible and is setting them up for their lives when they leave Pensmeadow. To be able to write, we need to have that strength. Writing comes from your fingers as a fine finger, but if you haven't got that strength in your body and in your arm, you can't control your fingers properly, and then it becomes very difficult. Holding your pencil has to be comfortable. So we've bought special Kinetic Letters pencils and pens, and they are triangular shaped to help support our young people with being able to do the correct hold. We also have different ends of the pencil to make sure that there is weight at the end of the pencil to stabilise it for those students who need a little bit more support with being able to hold that pencil in a more weighted way to give it that extra stability. The letter formation is how we do our actual letters. So we will do those starting off in the air, moving in sand trays, then writing on whiteboards and finally on paper. And all of our letters and numbers are formed by one of our 2 little monkeys that you can see in the middle. We've got the brave one who's got a bee on. He's called Bounce and he goes to the top of the branch of the tree. And the scared one, Skip, who is quite happy to go to the lower branch of the tree but is not very keen on going any higher. So all of the letters that the students do will start at either the top of the tree or the lower branch of the tree. And then we have our flow and fluency, which is ensuring that our letter movements are nice and flowing, so that helps us with our writing if we're writing more than a couple of letters at a time. So as I've said, it's really important we have that physical development to develop those core strong muscles so we can sit at the tables, shoulder muscles so that we can control our arm, and strong wrists to be able to hold the pencil for longer periods of time. And we will do that through different animal poses. So we've got these different poses that the children practice so that they can stand up straight, they can kneel, they can lie on their tummies, they can sit up. And these are adapted for children who have physical difficulties and need to be able to do it in a chair or on a bed, we will adapt these positions so that they are still able to access the core muscle strength that they need alongside their physio and other personalised plans that are in place. So we will be really concentrating on our physical strength. We will be doing lots of hand strength exercises, lots of big exercises, lots of crawling, lots of clapping, lots of push-ups, moving around, so that we can build those muscles in our bodies, as well as being able to pinch and press and thread and all those fine motor control ones that really help us to develop those muscles in our hands and fingers. At home, you can support your child maybe with going on monkey bars or large play equipment, crawling through tunnels or crawling around at home, playing clapping games, lying on the floor if you're reading a book, particularly on your tummy, because that strengthens the muscles in your shoulders that lots of children miss out on now, because they tend to go from sitting in their little carry cots to being able to walk with not as much crawling as children perhaps did in the past. Using dough and tweezers and different things for strengthening your fingers, and then being able to practicing that correct pencil hold with your child. So this is an example of what all our lowercase letters will look like. And we will be sending home, and it will be available on the website so that you can see this sheet for yourself at home and be able to support your child with being able to form those letters when it is developmentally appropriate for them to do so. These are the capitals, and as you can see, they've all been put into families. So we've got our uppercase family. They've got straight lines, we've got curved ones, we've got lines then curves, we've got sliding lines, we've got pulling numbers, and we've got pushing numbers. And that's why it's really important that we practice that pulling and pushing motion. For our pencil hold, we have a 3 friends hold. So our thumb and first finger sit on the top of the pencil, and the third finger that goes underneath is called the pillow finger, and that goes underneath. And again, there will be more explanation about this on the website. So we learn our letters in 6 different families. And these families are then introduced to the children or young people through stories about bounce and skip. So we've got Bounce, who's going to do all the tall letters, because as I said, he's at the top of the tree. And we've got Skip, who's the scared monkey and is lower down on the lower branch. And we've got the different families, the window cleaner family, and they're all the ones that go straight down. We've got the special squirter family, which is just the et that squirts and goes round. We've got the abracadabra family, which are all the ones that go round with the magic trail that start with like a C shape. We've got our fisher family, which are all the ones that hang down below the line. We've got a jumper family, where the monkey bounces on the floor and jumps back up to finish the letter. And we have a slider family, where the monkeys slide to do a V, W, X and Z. So there are 6 books with the adventures of Bounce and Skipping, and these are fully illustrated, and they help the young people remember what it is they need to do for their letters. So in book 1, they meet Curly the caterpillar. He helps them with their pencil hold, and they use numbers in hide and seek. In book 2, they're given magic to do their letter trails so that they can practice doing them in the air before they move into doing them with sand. In book C, they use their magic to introduce the abracadabra family. In book 4, they meet Mr. Tull, the window cleaner, and learn the window cleaner family. In book 5, they rescue Fish and meet the elephant and do the Fisher family. And in book 6, they meet the snow and meet the penguins in the snow and do lots of sliding about. So by the time they get to book 6, they've got all their letters and numbers, and then they can have a go at doing it themselves and having a go at writing all of those letters, moving from doing it in the air and the sand and being able to do it on the whiteboards and on paper. In a kinetic letters lesson, The children or young people will hear the story as developmentally appropriate and then be introduced to the letter family. They only focus on one letter until that is completely embedded. As I say, they start off in the air and then move on to do it in the sand tray, and when they're confident doing that, then they do it in the sand and on the whiteboard. For those children who are not developmentally ready to form their letters, they will be focusing on increasing their fine motor control, being able to make those shapes that we had a look at the beginning, and being able to really manipulate their fingers and develop that core strength so that when they are ready to learn their letters, they will be able to do that. If you'd like any more information about our letters and our handwriting scheme, that will be available on the website, and you can also ask at school. Your class team for your child will be able to tell them which handwriting section they're working on at the moment, and ideas will be sent home to be able to support you and your child. And when they move on to the letters, letter sheets will be sent home to support the letter that they are working on so that you can practice and help them at home. Thank you.